And the American people do have other concerns that we ought to be thinking about and talking about.
Respectfully,
and
Madam
so,
Secretary, I think
well, let me finish now.
Sunny Hostin was certain that she could steer the conversation and outwit Condoleezza Rice on The View. But this wasn't your average chair guest. Condoleezza Rice, a distinguished scholar, former Secretary of State, and one of the most influential voices in American politics, was not going to be moved by interruptions and dramatic remarks. What happened caused the panel to go silent, which gave Sunny Hostin the opportunity to regain control. This type of dialogue is difficult for viewers to forget. It took place during what seemed to be a typical episode of The View. There were quick responses, overlapping voices, and the panel's usual animated debate. As the conversation continued, Hostin appeared ready to direct it in her usual combative way. However, things changed as Rice began to speak. Rice discussed the events surrounding the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol in a cool, collected manner. She described it as a serious danger to law and order and emphasized that people in authority should be held accountable. But rather of focusing solely on that historical event, Rice expanded the discussion. She turned her attention to issues that many Americans say are affecting their daily lives, like rising inflation, higher fuel costs, and the financial hardship that many families are facing. That shift in course did not sit well with Hostin. In an effort to reclaim the floor and steer the topic in a different direction, she interrupted herself mid-sentence. However, Rice did not alter. With polite firmness, she ended the interruption and conveyed her point. "Respectfully, Sunny, let me finish," she said, softly reminding the table of the numerous problems facing Americans. Hostin attempted to cut him off again, but Rice was unwavering and said again, "Let me finish," with a calm authority. For a while, the normally busy table became noticeably quiet. The conversation had taken on a different tone, and Hostin was no longer content with its direction.
It's really politically expedient for Mitch McConnell to say, let's move on, let's move on. The problem is that past will become prologue if we don't find out exactly what happened January 6th.
And we will.
So it's not time now.
We will find out.
We must find out before moving on.
We will find out. But I'm going to tell you, I live in California, not Washington, D.C. And the American people do have other concerns that we ought to be thinking about and talking about.
Respectfully,
and
Madam Secretary, I think...
let me finish now, Sunny. I also know that as a government and as a country, we've got to be concerned about the things that are making life hard for Americans and hard for American families.
For a moment, everything was silence. The atmosphere in the room suddenly felt thick, and the tension was tangible. It was clear from Sunny Hostin's manner that she was irritated and powerless to influence the discussion. This was not going as she had expected. However, Condoleezza Rice spoke more. She continued with a calm confidence, imparting what many viewers saw as a lesson in elegance and reason. While admitting that the circumstances surrounding the attack on the U.S. Capitol on January 6th were incorrect, she underscored that accountability will be handled by the legal system. However, she quickly raised awareness of the issues that millions of Americans deal with every day. She explained that families around the country are worried about buying groceries, paying for gas, and keeping up with rising costs. She emphasized that those challenges are the ones that people are thinking about right now. The audience immediately responded. The clapping that erupted in the studio was different from what was typically heard on The View. This was an emotional reaction to what many viewers saw as an honest and straightforward moment that seemed genuine and unplanned. This interaction was notable for reasons other than the debate. Rice did not merely cut Hostin off. Instead, she reminded all of the panelists of the bigger picture of the conversation. Rice brought the conversation back to the problems that everyday people deal with, even though the program occasionally veers toward dramatic political discussions. But for a while, Hostin appeared to be at a loss for words. You could almost see her searching for a way to disprove Rice's rational, calm arguments. But the more Rice spoke, the clearer her message became. At that point, it didn't seem like there was much room for a counter-argument.
It was a socialist, and socialism was the economic system
of
Venezuela.
And it's a kleptocracy, it's not socialism.
But here's the question is, they voted for socialism, they voted for, let me finish.
No, I can't let you finish. If you're going to say Maduro's going to murder his thoughts, I'm not letting you finish. Because that's a damn lie. And I've got a bunch of neighbors and friends who know this. Don't do this to me. Don't mansplain. I'm a 47-year-old girl.
What emphasized the exchange even more was how everyone else at the table responded. Joy Behar, who rarely misses a chance to get into a brawl, seemed incredibly composed. Furthermore, Whoopi Goldberg did not try to divert or diffuse the issue by stepping in. Ana Navarro's anxious smile, which typically appears when it's obvious that the visitor has taken total control of the conversation, said a lot on its own.
question a lot, but why did you endorse Donald Trump? Sir, I hate to ask this question, but you have aligned yourself with a man who has bashed women, made countless racist remarks, and you're Ben Carson. Why would you align yourself with that?
Because you and other people continue to spread these innuendos that have nothing to do with who I am.
But what really made the event noteworthy was how ineffective Sunny Hostin's usual approach against Condoleezza Rice was. Rice declined to employ Sunny's frequent use of strong delivery, moral conviction, and interruptions to steer the conversation. Instead, she continued to present her case with poise, correctness, and a strong basis. This contrast made Sunny's attempts seem more dramatic and less credible, as if she was trying to regain control of a conversation that had already gone by. In the end, it appeared to be more important than a single fight between two women on a talk show. It highlighted a broader criticism of The View itself, which is that the program too often puts conflict ahead of sincere dialogue and talks over visitors rather than engaging with them.
Well, Hillary
That have
Clinton
nothing to
started
do
it,
with
and then
who
you
I
shot
am.
back at her, boy. You called her the queen of warmongers.
You doubled down, unfortunately, you doubled down on the baseless accusations that she made that strikes at the core of who I am. I'm a soldier.
What's your evidence to that?
To change. Well, are you
Let's-
serious?
let's hear it.
Are you serious?
Let's hear it.
I served in the war
Not
in
you,
Iraq.
her. You're saying that she's-
exactly.
she's a
I
warmonger.
served
How do
in
you
the
come
war
up with
in
that?
Iraq
Yeah.
that she championed. She championed a regime change
Did
war
you not
in
believe
Libya.
in that war?
I believe the lies that were told to us.
Well, so did she.
Rice's appearance exposed that tendency without making the segment a spectacle or raising her voice. She simply remained calm, defended her stance, and allowed the imbalance speak for itself. The question now is whether she should have applied greater pressure or if she handled the situation appropriately. Beyond that, instead of constantly reverting to political outrage, could media conversations concentrate more on modern concerns like inflation, fuel prices, and household finances?